federal investigators are heading back to the Bahamas, and this time they are reportedly bringing far more than questions. According to information that has surfaced in recent days, Coast Guard personnel, specialized search resources, dive teams, and a cadaver dog team are expected to take part in another round of searches connected to the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. For a case that has already generated months of public attention, that development immediately caught people's attention. Because when investigators return to the same area weeks after a disappearance, many people naturally wonder what prompted the renewed effort. Are they following up on new information? Did new witness statements point them in a different direction? Did evidence lead them back to locations that were previously overlooked? Or are investigators simply determined to leave no stone unturned in a case that still has far more questions than answers? Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. The search for answers surrounding Lynette Hooker's disappearance is far from over. Lynette vanished in early April while living aboard the sailboat Soulmate with her husband, Brian Hooker, in the Bahamas. According to Brian's public account, the couple was traveling by dinghy when Lynette reportedly entered the water and disappeared. Search efforts began almost immediately. Rescue crews responded. Aircraft searched from above. Boats combed through surrounding waters. Volunteers joined the effort. Yet despite those extensive searches, Lynette was never found. That fact alone has continued to trouble both investigators and Lynette's family. As weeks passed, the story remained in the headlines. Witnesses came forward. New accounts emerged. Questions developed about the timeline. Questions developed about locations. Questions developed about what happened during the hours before Lynette vanished. And now, months later, investigators are reportedly returning to the Bahamas with additional resources. That wasn't the only thing people noticed. According to information discussed by individuals closely following the case, one of the most notable resources expected to assist in the renewed search effort is Maggie, a highly trained cadaver dog, and her handler. Maggie has been involved in difficult searches before. Cadaver dogs possess specialized training that allows them to detect scents associated with human decomposition. According to those familiar with her work, Maggie has demonstrated remarkable abilities during previous investigations. The possibility of deploying a cadaver dog in areas connected to Lynette's disappearance has attracted significant attention, because it suggests investigators continue examining multiple possibilities while searching for answers. Of course, it is important to remember that the exact purpose of every search activity has not been publicly disclosed. Investigators rarely reveal every detail of an active investigation, but the fact that specialized resources are reportedly being brought back into the field indicates that authorities continue taking this case seriously. Meanwhile, Lynette's family continues waiting. For them, every new search effort represents another chance, another possibility, another opportunity to finally learn what happened. At that point, the family had questions. Those questions have existed from the very beginning. How could someone disappear without leaving a clear trail? Why have search efforts failed to locate her? What happened during the critical hours surrounding her disappearance? And perhaps most importantly, what evidence do investigators have that the public has not yet seen? Those questions remain unanswered. But there was another detail. According to discussions surrounding the upcoming search effort, investigators may be focusing on multiple locations rather than a single area. That matters because geography has become a major factor in understanding this case. The Sea of Abaco is not a small pond. It is a vast area of water surrounded by islands, channels, marinas, shorelines, mangrove systems, and deep water passages. A person traveling by dinghy could potentially access numerous locations within a relatively short period of time. Search planners understand that. That is why investigators often revisit locations as new information develops. One area that has received attention involves portions of Marsh Harbor. Marsh Harbor is one of the busiest communities in the Abaco Islands. It contains marinas, boatyards, waterfront businesses, and numerous points of access to surrounding waters. According to witness accounts discussed publicly, Marsh Harbor became an important location during the hours following Lynette's disappearance. Several witnesses reportedly observed or interacted with Brian Hooker after he sought assistance. Those observations have become part of the broader public conversation surrounding the case. But there was another detail. Search efforts may reportedly include both land and water operations. That means investigators are not focusing exclusively on open water. Land searches can be just as important as marine searches in missing person investigations. Sometimes evidence is located on shorelines. Sometimes witnesses come forward after seeing search teams. Sometimes locations that initially seemed unimportant become significant later. Investigators know that every search has the potential to generate new information. According to people familiar with the upcoming effort, specialized dive resources may also be involved. Diving operations can be extremely challenging. Visibility on currents can create hazards. Depth can complicate search efforts. And large search areas require significant planning. Yet divers remain one of the most effective tools available when investigators need to examine underwater locations closely. Picture a diver descending through dark water near a channel marker or shoreline. Every foot of visibility matters. Every object on the bottom must be examined carefully. Every unusual item requires attention. It is painstaking work, but it can also produce critical results. Meanwhile, search efforts continue to generate interest from people following the case online. One reason for that interest involves the timeline. Timelines matter. They matter in every investigation. Investigators want to know where people were, when they were there, who saw them, and how those movements fit into the larger sequence of events. Over time, witness statements have contributed additional details to the public understanding of the case. Some accounts focused on observations made near the water. Others focused on interactions that occurred later. Still others involved observations connected to locations around Marsh Harbor. Each witness account provides another piece of information. Whether those pieces ultimately fit together remains for investigators to determine. That raised another question. Why return now? The exact answer remains unclear. Investigators have not publicly disclosed every reason for their renewed efforts. But experienced investigators often revisit cases when new information becomes available. A witness may remember something. Technology may reveal something previously overlooked. Search strategies may evolve. Fresh eyes may examine old evidence. Sometimes one new detail can change the direction of an entire investigation. That possibility. Meanwhile, another aspect of the search has generated discussion. According to reports, investigators may utilize remotely operated technology during portions of their operation. Remotely operated vehicles, often called ROVs, allow search teams to examine underwater areas without placing divers everywhere at once. An ROV can move along the bottom while transmitting images back to operators above. That technology becomes especially valuable in deeper water. Imagine a search vessel sitting quietly over a section of water. Below the surface, cameras move slowly across the seabed. Operators watch monitors carefully. Every shadow, every object, every unusual shape receives attention. Technology cannot answer every question, but it can help investigators search areas that would otherwise be difficult to examine. That wasn't the only thing people noticed. Attention has also remained focused on the dinghy involved in the case. The dinghy has been discussed extensively because it occupies a central role in the publicly known account of events. Questions surrounding the vessel have remained part of the broader conversation since the earliest days of the investigation. Investigators reportedly examined the larger sailboat Soulmate extensively. The dinghy itself has also drawn attention. As with many aspects of this case, authorities have not publicly disclosed every detail of what they have found. That is common during ongoing investigations. Evidence is often reviewed long before investigators reveal conclusions. For Lynette's family, however, the wait can be agonizing. Every day without answers feels like another day without closure. Family members have continued speaking publicly about their desire to find Lynette and understand what happened. Their focus has remained remarkably consistent. Find Lynette. Find answers. Learn the truth. Everything else comes after that. According to investigators, and that alone distinguishes this case from many others. Some cases gradually fade from public view. This one has not. Law enforcement agencies continue working. Search resources continue being deployed. Witnesses continue being interviewed. Evidence continues being reviewed. Those facts suggest investigators believe there is still work worth doing. But there was another detail. Witness observations from the night and early morning hours have remained part of ongoing discussions. Several individuals reportedly observed Brian Hooker after he sought assistance near Marsh Harbor. Descriptions of those observations have varied. Investigators routinely evaluate such statements carefully. Human memory is not perfect. People remember events differently. Yet witness observations often help establish timelines and context. That is why investigators collect them, compare them, test them against known facts, and determine where they fit within the larger investigation. At this stage, many of those findings remain known only to investigators. The public sees only a portion of the information being examined. That reality can sometimes be frustrating for families and followers of a case. But it is also a normal part of complex investigations. Meanwhile, another visual image continues to resonate with people following the story. Picture Soulmate sitting quietly at anchor in the Bahamas. Blue water stretches in every direction. The vessel appears peaceful. It is difficult to reconcile that image with the mystery that followed. Yet somewhere within that peaceful setting lies the reason investigators continue searching, the reason families continue waiting, and the reason this case continues attracting attention. That raised another question. Could investigators be closer to answers than the public realizes? The truth is we simply do not know. Investigators rarely announce every lead they are pursuing. Nor do they reveal every piece of evidence they possess. Sometimes months of work occur behind the scenes before any public announcement is made. What we do know is that authorities are reportedly investing additional time, manpower, and resources into this case. That decision alone suggests they continue searching for answers. As the new search effort moves forward, attention will likely focus on several key questions. Will investigators discover new evidence? Will witness information be corroborated? Will technology reveal something previously overlooked? Will search teams locate anything that helps explain what happened to Lynette? At this point, no one outside the investigation knows. But the possibility remains. And that possibility is enough to keep families, investigators, and observers focused on the case. For Lynette's daughter, for her mother, and for everyone who loved her, the hope remains the same. That one day And if you're following developments in the Lynette Hooker case, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future updates as investigators continue searching for answers.